Most respected Professor J.M. Dave, Dr. Professor Vashne, Dr. G.T. Agarwal, Tyagi Sahab, Dr. A.L. Agarwal, Dr. Mukesh Sharma, Dr. Atri, and my colleagues from CPCB as well as my colleagues from the Indian Association for Air Pollution Control. This is the very brief presentation which we have prepared. It is the views of IAPC, Indian Association for Air Pollution Control, Delhi chapter, on current air quality issues in Delhi NCR and options to improve the air quality. So I will try to highlight the issue which we discussed in our IAPC meetings, and it was decided in the last meeting that we should give our views before you so that a fruitful discussion can be made and some recommendations can be prepared from this based upon the discussion, which can be forwarded to Ministry of Environment and Forest and Central Pollution Control Board for consideration. The contents of the presentation is we have included here the sources of air pollution, air quality in Delhi NCR region, health effects due to air pollution, option to improve the air quality, and some conclusions and recommendations that I will not give in detail because the recommendation should come in the second half of the meeting today, where the audience will give their views, and based upon that we'll prepare the final recommendation. What I want to mention here, the pollutants of concern. So far we are concerned about the criteria pollutant, but nowadays this is a very complex thing. We have many type of pollutants, air pollutants, which are affecting us. For example, the criteria pollutants, which all of us we are aware. In 2009, CPCB has come out with a revised list of pollutants. Then we have the light scattering and absorbing PM, which give the adverse visibility problem, health and ecosystems. These are the sulfate, nitrate, ammonia, organic carbon, elemental carbon, etc. Then the hazardous air pollutant, which we are very much concerned, and for rightfully that CPCB has come out with the air quality standard for benzoylpyrene, benzene, and some metals. Unfortunately, the mercury standard which we have recommended to ministry have been left out, but from CPCB side we have recommended a ambient air quality standard for mercury also. Then we have the oxidizing pollutants, depositing pollutants, reduced sulfur compounds and the certain VOCs. This create a lot of unpleasant odors, which are also air pollutant, and VOC is responsible for that, and the climate forces like black carbon, ozone, carbon dioxide, etc. So you can see that the vast of pollutants which we are concerned in Delhi and NCR region as well as in other parts of the country. So if you concentrate only on particulate matter and SO2 and oxides of nitrogen and some criteria pollutants and try to give a recommendation, it will not be fully covered. So we have to consider the hazardous air pollutants, etc. Now we have given a lot of importance to the health effects due to this pollution, but there are so many other problems are there, how the pollutants are affecting. We are having the particulate matter having size from 1 micron to 2.5 micron, they're very fine. And if you see the other countries like Europe, European Union, US EPA, they are now discussing and formulating the standard for PM1. So this is the very, very important one we should also consider. And because these fine particulates are, they consist of the toxic elements as well as the bioaerosols. Then PM 2.5, we have already the standard, which is consisting of mainly the toxic elements, organic carbon and elemental carbon, then ultrafine PM, oxides of nitrogen, reduced sulfur, VOCs, and you can see these some of the pollutants are taking part in the secondary pollutant formation and then affecting not only the health but other problems like odor problem, visibility problem, health problem, material damage, plant and crop damage, climate and other ecosystem damage. So these are all interrelated, correlated. So we cannot take only one pollutants together when we discuss the ecosystem. We have to take the cocktail of the pollutants. And this combination of that is affecting the health. So this is the very important issue which I want to flag here. And I hope that while framing the recommendation, we will consider these things. Now coming to the sources of air pollution in NCR region, I have tried to make a very simple way. I can go in the detail of that, but a lot detailing I have not done. You can see the vehicles which are more than 75 lakhs are one of the main concerns in NCR Delhi regions, and there is a 50,000 more trucks which are mainly the Bharat stage 2 based engines are entering Delhi every night. So if you see that in night time after 10 p.m. when the trucks are allowed in the Delhi's road, you can see that a lot of black smoke are coming from those trucks and polluting the city of Delhi. Then we have the DG sets, more than 5 lakhs, and the numbers are increasing because there are the power shortage and the power breakdowns are there. So every shops, every housing complex, they have the DG sets, and the rough estimate from the DPCC is that it is more than 5 lakhs. Then we have the coal and gas-based power station, Rajghat, Badarpur Thermal Power Station, then Indraprastha, Pragati Maidan, Pragati Power, these are the gas-based. So we have the combination of the gas-based power station and the coal-based power station which are located in the heart of the city. And you kindly note this thing, in those power stations, the coal-based power station, we have only the control system for particulate. We are not controlling sulfur dioxides and oxides of nitrogen and mercury, etc. from our coal-based power station. There is no standard. And recently, due to the lot of interaction with the Ministry of Environment and Forest, they have fortunately issued a draft standard for new draft standard for the coal-based power station, which includes sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, and also mercury. I hope that these standards are finalized quickly and enforced all over India for reduction of the sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen and mercury from our coal-based power station. So this is a very important one. I want to flag it, that city of Delhi, where the coal-based power stations are located, there is no standard for SO2 and NOx, and they are emitting all the SO2 and NOx uncontrolled way, and that's the impact is significantly high. Then we have the air pollution from small-scale industry, and Professor Dave has rightly mentioned that the national capital in all over world, there is not much industries are located. But in Delhi, we have the large number of small-scale industries are located. We have the 17 industrial areas in Delhi which are contributing. And the rough estimate from the DPCC is that there are more than 1 lakh industries are located in those industrial areas. They have the small boilers, they have the small DG sets and creating the problem. Then air pollution from the SSI units located in neighboring states like in Ghaziabad, Gurgaon, Noida, Sonipat and other NCR cities. Air pollution is moving. So the small scale industry located in those areas, Ghaziabad, etc., their contribution sometime in the city of Delhi is noticed, and it is impacting the air quality in those areas. Then the next one is the air pollution due to the fuel adulteration. This is very important one. I want to flag it also that in Delhi, the India's largest fuel consumption with respect to diesel and petrol is happening in city of Delhi. And Delhi is the Ministry of Petroleum and other government agencies. This is recorded that the fuel adulterance is very, very severe in city of Delhi. Whatever the fuel which is cheaper than petrol and diesel are used for adulteration purpose. And whatever the fuel we are producing in our refinery and what we are getting in our petrol stations are entirely different. So these are one of the important issues, because this will impact the air quality, it will impact the engine's performance also. Then another one, the benzene. Why I want to emphasize is the DPCC data. If you see, the benzene level in civil line station in other stations are significantly high. It is exceeding the 5 microgram per meter cube standard, which is MOEF has notified. And what are the sources of that? Because benzene and other VOC emissions from petrol stations in our country, in city of Delhi, are considerably high because we do not have the vapor recovery system. Now, all the Western countries and all the developed countries in the petrol station, they put the vapor recovery system. So we are lacking of that. And also in our vehicles, there is no there is no system for recover this vapor. Vapor is the volatile burning compounds and benzene which is coming out from the fuel tank. So this is the source of benzene and VOC, and it is impacted on the ambient air and it is noticed. So what I want to say that PM 2.5 is one which is now made a lot of hue and cry, but the toxic pollutants like benzoylpyrene and benzene, etc., which is present in the city of Delhi's air, I think we should look into and come out with some policies and action plan to control those pollutants also. Resuspension of dust, this is another area. And CPCB source apportionment study, which is done by CPCB, is mentioning that the resuspension of dust is also, and there is a lot of emissions are there. Asbestos fiber emissions from the brake lining and the vehicles and tire dust. This is another area. I think the last meeting, Professor Varshney has indicated this one, and it's very important that all our brake lining has some asbestos, and when you use this brake lining in the vehicles, the asbestos fiber is coming out. So if you monitor the particulate matter in the particulate matter sample, the asbestos fiber, for which the standards have already been prescribed by Ministry of Environment and Forest, there are you will get the presence of the asbestos fiber, and asbestos fiber is a proved carcinogen. Then air pollution due to leaf burning, although the Honorable NGT has banned it, High Court has banned it, but still it is being practiced, and the leaf burning is contributing a lot of emissions. Air pollution due to the agriculture residue burning in Punjab and Haryana, this is very important one, and I remember about 10 years ago, our association has organized a brainstorming session on that. Dr. G.D. Agarwal was the responsible for organizing that one, and there is very positive and fruitful recommendations have been made. We have forwarded to the Ministry of Environment and Forest, and CPCB, and the government has come out with some of the guidelines for that. And Punjab and Haryana, both the government and pollution control boards have put a ban on the agricultural residue burning. But unfortunately, this is happening because the enforcement is weak. And there are reports are there that during the winter months, when the agricultural residue are burnt in the fields in the Haryana and Punjab, there are reported that the fine particulate matter, the PM 2.5, black carbon, etc., are coming. Air pollution due to the garbage burning in municipal dump sites. This is another area which we have identified is contributing the pollution. And the DG set of the mobile towers. We should not forget that Delhi, we have over more than 40,000 DG mobile towers. And every mobile tower, they have a DG sets. These are all located in the residential areas. So their contribution is also that. So you can see, these are the sources of the air pollution in Delhi, which we have listed. About 13, 14 sources are there. So that means if you want to control the pollution, then we have to take an integrated approach. If you concentrate only on vehicles or only on power plant, we may not get the results. So that is rightly CPCB in your source apportionment study have clearly mentioned that we should always take an integrated approach for control of air pollution. Now I'm coming to the second part of my presentation, that is the air quality monitoring in NCR regions. There are a lot of monitoring is done. CPCB, they have the manual station of 8 and the continuous monitoring station 5. I'm not sure about the numbers. My colleagues from CPCB may correct me if I mention any wrong figures here. Then the DPCC, they have the continuous air quality monitoring station, 6 numbers. Continuous air quality monitoring stations operated and maintained by IITM is 10, I think, in Delhi. So what are the parameters monitored? You can see that a large number of monitoring network is there. Large number of stations are there. PM10, PM2.5, SO2, NOx, benzene, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, lead, ozone, all the pollutants which is listed in our 2009 standards are monitored. Now I have some problem with the results, data. Now the trends of the air quality, if you see the 4-5 years data which have been analyzed by our association, we have found that the PM10, PM2.5 and NOx are generally exceeded when compared with the National Air Quality Standard 2009. These data are all available in CPCB and DPCC website. Anybody can see this one. Then benzene and polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which are proved carcinogens, are also exceeded in Delhi. We have very limited data. Fortunately, Dr. Tyagi, who from CPCB, has produced a lot of polyaromatic hydrocarbons data from city of Delhi, and he has given for publication these papers. From that, I have inferred that the polyaromatic hydrocarbons levels are high, and DPCC are reporting the benzene level in few stations. They have put the automatic stations, and those data are scary because benzene, which is a proved carcinogen, levels are high. So you can see the Delhi situation. PM10, PM2.5 NOx are high, benzene and polyaromatic hydrocarbons are high. Black carbon, we have huge data of black carbon levels. This is reported by IITM. This is the organization, sister organization of IMD. And the black carbon data which they are producing also shows the high values. When we compare with the some of the standards which is available for black carbon also. Sulfur dioxide and lead are generally within the air quality standards. Now, the lead we have phased out from our petrol in 2007 itself. From 2005 to 2007, 2003 to 2007, we have phased out the lead from our petrol. So there is a perfect correlation that the lead levels have gone down, and we are not getting much lead in the ambient air. Whatever lead is coming from the secondary lead industry, reprocessing battery industry, which are still exist in NCR, Delhi regions and contributing some lead. So this is the air quality scenario. I will not provide any data because the successor of the presentations which will be made by the various scientists here, they will give the details of the data. I will not go into that. But I want to highlight one thing. Now from last 3 months, all the national newspapers are giving the data, air quality index. And every day Times of India is giving the air quality index data. I have taken one sample. This is the 12th June 2015 data. Delhi is showing 194 moderate, Pune is good, 29, Hyderabad is good, Chennai is good, Kolkata is good, and Mumbai is good. That means barring Delhi, all the cities are very good. What has happened in last 3 months, I want to understand that these cities like Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata is heavily polluted, become so good with respect to air quality. So this is this is not a one-day data. I have analyzed the 90 days data, which is published in their website and also published in the newspapers. So I have to believe the newspaper data. So this data shows that the Mumbai itself, for example, on 12 June, the air quality index with PM2.5 was 9. Can we believe this data? So this requires that we should have the proper calibration of the equipment. So one of the recommendations which our association wants to put forth is the all continuous air quality monitoring station data generated nationwide seems to be not reliable due to the absence of proper calibration of the analyzers in most of the stations. I have used the most of the stations, not all. I know that CPCB, some of the stations, and the DPCB, some of the stations, our calibrations are done properly. But I am talking about the all over India where we have more than 500 stations. And the government has very ambitious plan to increase these 500 stations to 1,000 stations. So I want to warn the government authorities here that without proper calibration facility, without proper quality checks, we should not increase the number of stations. Otherwise, the data quality will be very bad. So it is recommended, very humbly recommended to MOEF and CPCB that they should have developed proper calibration protocol and set up zone-wise calibration centers. That is important. Zone-wise calibration centers are very important, and only certified and calibrated analyzers should be used for monitoring of the air quality. This practice is happening in every regulatory bodies like US EPA, Environment Canada, European Commission, all are doing this type of thing. Only accredited analyzers and calibrated instruments are used for calibrations of that. This is also recommended in the auto fuel policy and vision and policy which is set up by the Planning Commission, and they have very strongly recommended that one, and it is presently considered by the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India. Now I'm coming to what are the typical source quantification. Professor Dave has rightly mentioned that what is the characteristics of our PM2.5, which is a natural dust or it contains something man-made thing also. So this is the typical data I have taken from the source apportionment study which CPCB jointly with TERI have done during the period 2004 to 2007. And you can see the PM2.5 source quantification. it says that the PM 2.5, the 50%, 49.9% of the PM 2.5 is coming from transport sector. DG sector is contributing 24.7%. Industry is contributing only 3.5%. So you can see, if you want to improve the situation of PM 2.5 in city of Bangalore, then the first target should be the transport sector and the DG sets. It is very well coming from the source approximate study. Similar studies have been done for other cities. Kanpur, IIT Kanpur has done, Delhi, NIRI has done. So all the data are available and they have done a very good source characterization, source quantification, which is clearly pinpointing what are the sources of the pollution. So we'll draw our conclusion and recommendation from these findings, because all the findings should have the scientific background. Another important thing which I want to highlight here, that the abundance of the carbon in the PM mass increases with decreasing particle size. Now we're talking about the finer portion of the PM 2.5. We're talking about the PM1 also. And you can see the fine particulates, ultra-fine particulates, the organics, the organic carbon and elemental carbon percentage are very high. So if the PM 2.5 data we believe, which is reported in Delhi about 150 to say 250, then the fine particulate, the organic carbon and elemental carbon percentage here are very high. That means these are all man-made sources, and if the elemental carbon are present in that, it becomes a toxic because all the metals are there, and it is very harmful to the human health. Because all the medical research has been pointed out that the fine particulate and ultra-fine particles are going to our lower respiratory tract, and from that it is going to our bloodstream. So I will give some of the findings there, that also. The health effect of the air pollution. The PM and the benzene and polyaromatic hydrocarbons are proved carcinogens. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's plenty of research is available, and they have proven that the benzene and polyaromatic hydrocarbons, these two pollutants, are proved carcinogens, and it can cause cancer. Now the particulate matter also have a long list where the health effects have been published, and a lot of literatures are available. Billions of dollars have been spent by the other countries for finding out this research. We don't have to reinvent the wheel again. It's the premature death, lung cancer, development of chronic lung disease, heart attacks. So many things are there due to the fine particulate matter. Now, recently the WHO and the global burden disease, the findings have been published in Lancet 2012, in which they are listed that the fifth largest killer in the in India is the ambient particulate matter pollution. I don't have believed this one because the figures are very high, but this data have been circulated everywhere, and all the agencies, the government bodies and NGOs are using this data, where the ambient particulate levels, especially PM 2.5, this has been estimated that this is more than 6 lakhs deaths annually in India due to the fine particulate matter. Now we have also collected some of the very simple data, because as you remember that our association have organized last year a conference, a workshop on health effects of air pollution, in which large number of doctors have participated. I have some of the data from them. It is the Delhi's data, and it shows that the prevalence, the doctor visit, most common symptom for which a patient visits a doctor, not a specialist in India. We generally visit a physician. We are for our any problem. We don't go to the specialist directly. You can see that the respiratory problems is maximum. Prevalence of the respiratory problems is about 51% when you compare with the fever, the body ache, the loss of appetite, and the other common problems. And the respiratory problems are associated with the air pollution. This is the data collected from the doctors from Patel Chess Institute at All India Institute of Medical Science. Then the city of Bangalore, they have done doctors have published a report, papers on the traffic density around school and prevalence of asthma among school children. You can see when they are very close to the heavy traffic, there's an increase of the asthma patients are more among the children. This is twofold increase in the prevalence of asthma when they are very close to the high traffic zones. And as per the survey conducted by CAC, another agency, most of the schools and most of our important working places are very close to the high traffic zones. You can see the ITO, you can see the Connaught Place, where the very high traffic zones, we are very close by to that. This is the relative risk of sudden heart attack. This is a paper published in the New England Journal of Medical Journal, this very reputed journal, which says that the sudden risk of the heart attack is one of the important things is that for the elderly people, if they spending time in the traffic, is heavy traffic more than 1 hour, then the risk of the heart attack will be 3.9, and compared with the anger is 3.1, diabetics is 1.8, and the smoking is 2.8. So this is again we have the data we have to believe because this is published in the very reputed journal. CPCB has done a lot of, now it has been told that why CPCB is coming over the standard, what type of health impact study they have done.
Dr. Sengupta, will you like to conclude now in a couple of minutes?
Okay, sir. So I will skip some of the slides then. These are the health impact study. I will just skip and come to directly to the options to improve air quality in Delhi NCR region. As I mentioned that to improve the air quality in NCR, an integrated approach is required to be taken, which should include the following. One is the vehicular pollution control from existing and new vehicles. Existing vehicles are very important because the vehicles which are road are polluting more. Some of the vehicles, not all. The DG sets emission control I have highlighted. Air pollution control from power plant installed in NCR regions. Air pollution control due to the fuel adulteration. Pollution control from industries located in Delhi and adjacent areas like Ghaziabad, etc. Air pollution control from construction activities. Air pollution due to the aggregated residue burning. Benzene and VOC emission reduction from petrol pumps due to the non-availability of the vapor recovery system. Now coming to these are the areas we have identified. These are the 8 areas. As I mentioned that we have to take an integrated approach. That is rightly recommended by the Central Pollution Control Board in their source apportionment study. That always we should take an integrated approach. And what should we do? The vehicular pollution control. This is the recommendation of the Air Fuel Vision and Policy 2025, which is chaired by Honorable Member of the Planning Commission recently. I was associated with this committee. They have recommended that the BS 5 and 6 standards for vehicles and fuels to be implemented quickly. This is very important one, and you know that the sulfur content in the BS 4 and BS 5, there is a huge difference. BS 4, which is made available now in about 50 cities in the country, the sulfur is 50 ppm, and BS 5 it is 10 ppm. So there is a 1/5 of the sulfur we can handle this one. And our refineries are ready with BS 5 fuel. So only the government instruction is required that you can supply the BS 5 fuels. There will be the 1/5 reduction of the sulfur load in the environment. If there's only single step, if you implement that thing. So BS 5, where the sulfur is 10 ppm, is very important, should be implemented. Inspection and maintenance program to be improved as recommended by the committee. It is very important, and I will give the details. And the existing diesel fleet, this is very important. That there is although the NGT has put a ban on that, but diesel particulate filter installation will be reduce the particulate matter problem, especially the PM 2.5 and soot particles drastically if you install the diesel particulate filter, which will cost not more than $300 a single piece, but we require a 10 ppm sulfur diesel for that. So these are the 3 recommendations. CPCB has done a very good emission factor study, and CPCB has spent more than 1 crore for this study, and you can see that the PM and benzene emission from the diesel vehicles, all type of diesel vehicles, are very high compared to the other petrol driven vehicles. That is make a very fit case that all the soot particles and PM 2.5 are mostly coming from the diesel vehicles and mostly from the heavy duty diesel vehicles, and we have to control by putting the diesel particulate filter. Best practices of inspection and maintenance. Presently, what are the PUC certificate we are doing are not giving a desired result. So we have to come out with a very good inspection and maintenance program. That is the centralized inspection and maintenance system. I will not go into detail, but in our report we have listed what type of inspection and maintenance system are required for improving the air quality from the in-use vehicles. These are some of the recommendations which the Auto Fuel Policy 2003 in 2003 have recommended, which are partially implemented. So these are, I will not go into detail, but there are so many low-hanging fruits are there, which we should implement also in order to improve the air quality in this thing. I will not go into detail, but these are the very important recommendations which are partially implemented in the NCR, Delhi NCR regions. Second option is to improve the DG set emission control. We have to improve the power situation. Though we will discourage the people for using the DG sets. New commercial DG sets in Delhi NCR should be based on clean fuel like CNG. Existing DG sets to be retrofitted with requisite pollution control system. I think DG set control is necessary. For example, the mobile tower DG sets, they are minting money. Why they are not going for the clean fuel DG sets? Like CNG DG sets are available. Why they are not going? The emission reduction from power plants is third options in this thing. PM emission should be restricted to 50 milligrams. There are in Delhi NCR region there are about 8 or 9 power plants that are coal based. In Panipat, Sonipat, in Faridabad there are power plants are there, all coal based, and their impact is Delhi is there. If you do the modeling study, you can find that the Faridabad thermal power station is also contributing some of the SO2 and NOx in city of Delhi's air. Similarly, vis-a-vis, Badarpur is contributing to Faridabad and other places. So we have to see that the PM should be restricted to 50 milligrams, which Ministry of Environment has already notified. Beneficiated coal should be used, 100% fly ash utilization. We should not forget that the fly ash pond is contributing a lot of air pollution. If you go to the Nizamuddin and see this Rajghat power station, ash pond, Badarpur ash pond, they are the major source of the air pollution. So we have to see that this fly ash and the ash are utilized and there is no pollution from this thing on those ash ponds. Low NOx burner should be installed in the gas-based power station. We are planning for the new gas-based power station and the expansion of the existing one. We should have the low NOx burner. All new coal-based power stations should have the SOx and NOx control facility. Fortunately, that as I mentioned, that Ministry of Environment has come out with a draft standard in which the SO2, NOx and mercuries are there. So we have to see that the standards at least implemented in the NCR region, and stack gas velocity to be increased. Then the fourth option is the pollution control from industries. As I mentioned that the SSI units located in Ghaziabad, Noida, Gurgaon, Sonipat, etc. require pollution control.